Hello everybody and welcome back to the KCM. It's time for the final week. Where has time gone, Shun? Week 8 here. Gonna start out on Knockout. And I mean, it's been a hell of a tournament so far. We're just finishing up here as we're getting into the round of 8 of ASL. So that's gonna be on the top of everybody's mind here. And who do we have? I've got a barcode on my screen, Light. I hate it when they do this. Who actually is going up against Light here first?
Well, I can't exactly look that up and figure out who that is exactly, because I can't copy and paste that barcode to know exactly who it is. So it looks like it's Light. Okay, it's Light.
It's Soma. Light's already on the screen.
Oh, my bad.
Soma down here at the bottom left. Okay. Now that that's cleared up, we can get into this game here. Soma versus Light is a fantastic matchup, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, both of these guys, it's kind of interesting. It's almost like new school versus old school between these two. Soma kind of back from the military now. He's had a bit of a desk job, so it seems like he's been able to play a lot on the ladder for a long time while in the military, and he's come back and taken the scene by storm already. And Light, like Puppet Terran over here, kind of holding the torch in the absence of Flash for a long time and coaching and giving some insight to pretty much the entire Terran scene. It'll be interesting to see how these two stack up against one another.
Yeah, we're going to try to avoid any ASL spoilers, guys, as much as possible. Just a reminder to myself and Shun. And we're going to do our absolute best, but we're going to be also streaming and casting the ASL round of 8 here soon. It's going to be live on Monday at 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time, so you guys can Google that for your own time zone, can find it out, and I'm going to put the link down in the description below. It'll be named the ASL stream, so it's Soup Live SCTVEN, so definitely check it out. It's been a really fun ASL this season, and I mean, it's just gonna get better here, Sean. We've got so many good matchups.
Yeah.
It's so hard to predict who's actually gonna win, so definitely join up on that, guys. Definitely go and check that out. It's gonna be so much fun this week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it pretty much was one of the best round of 16s almost of all time, and now we've got potentially one of the best round of 8s of all time. This has really been a special ASL event, and obviously we won't say any details about who's in the rounds and who won and all that kind of stuff. We'll avoid those kinds of spoilers, but please check out the ASL, guys. It's so good, and we love bringing you those live casts on Super Live SCTVEN, so come and join us there.
All right, Soma. Looks like he's gearing up for a 2 hatchery play as expected. How do you feel about Knockout for things like Mutalisk All-In? Because Soma's shown a great affinity to that type of play.
I think it's okay. I don't think it's particularly strong, but we've talked a little bit in the past about things that are suboptimal can end up being optimal in terms of build order obfuscation. You got Light doing a bit of a hidden move out here, coming to the 6 o'clock, just maybe trying to catch an overlord of Soma's that was moving into a bit of a cheeky, weird position. It's not really likely that Soma will put an overlord there, but I guess Light just wants to catch it if it was going to be moving down to that dead zone spot. But now he's going to go again, actually. And this is interesting. I don't know if he's hunting for an overlord or he's like hesitating doing a naked marine push. It seems like he's trying to track down an overlord that doesn't exist and maybe worried about Soma getting into a sneaky scouting position with that overlord. I'm a little bit confused by Light's marine movement at the moment, but it's a very fast factory out of him, so I guess he's worried about somehow Soma identifying the quick gas or something, but I'm not so sure about that either.
Okay, so I casted a series with Light recently. I believe it was versus Larva, and he did fast Valkyrie off of one barracks multiple times. So I'm curious if that's what we're gonna get here. He's already got the factory down. If he's got the eBay and the armory, and the the academy, then that's indeed what he's gonna be going for. Light falling back here, right as the Ling speed kicks in. He's gonna end up losing all these forces, and if it is indeed that build, he's not gonna have much back at home, Shun. Yeah, 3 Marines here. almost nothing else to speak of. Hydroden! Oh, huge mix-up.
Wow, yeah, he's not going to be expecting that. And if he's just going to, you know, blindly go into Valkyries like this, I mean, this is a very good counter to Valkyries. You've talked a lot about it, how it's very risky to do blind or, you know, blind Valkyries as Terran. You're really gambling. But yes, the meta is to go for Mutalisks, and there's that armory, so he is going to be going to Valkyries. And the reality is that the Zerg doesn't have to go Mutas, and if you're going to be cutting the timer on making that Academy and Scan to boot, you're not going to be able to identify this. He's actually hedging his bets here. He's got a Spire at the 3rd, as well as that Hydra Den, so he's probably going to do like a Lurker pressure play into Mutalisks as well. That will also allow him to get Scourge to kill things like Valkyries and Science Vessels, so it's important to get that Spire anyway. I'm curious to see if he's going to be hyper aggressive with these Lurkers, or if he's just going to use them to shut down Light's build order. You can kind of like go pretty much crazy aggressive with lots of Speedlings and Lurkers and try and run it down on the Terran, or you can just, you know, use them to force stims, force sieges, and like just contain the Terran for as long as possible and kind of get a bit of a technical win that way. Scanning the top left finds nothing from Light. Now he scans the main and sees the Hydrogen.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is a bit of panic right now from Light. He's going to start throwing down bunkers like crazy. It's really lucky for him that he managed to get that scan when he did. He can start to defend here, and we'll probably just see a transition out of Soma. Start to make some mutas and put the pressure on that way. Maybe even make a pair of Scourge here, as he seems pretty aware of what Light is up to. He's like dialed right into his build. As soon as that Hydroden is revealed, if he switches into mutas now, I mean, this could be devastating as well.
I mean, Valkyrie's almost seeing flavor of the month, right? Like, we've seen a lot of Terrans try and pull out some degree of Valkyrie build. It's initially a Wraith here from Light, going to be using the Wraith as scouting information. You can do like Air Terran and go for Valkyrie and Wraiths in the sky and try and obfuscate the fact that you want to go Valkyries, but it doesn't seem like that here. It seems like he just wants to use this Wraith for scouting and harassment purposes. A little bit late on the turrets and the naturals, so kind of a bit of a mind game here from Soma, making it look like those Lurkers and then harassing the natural with the mutas before the turrets can even be established. There's no zone control here really for Light, just now starting to finish up those critical turrets, but Soma's already done a sizable amount of damage. He's killed some SCVs, he's whittled down the Marine count even more. Yes, he's lost like just one Mutalisk here. This is really well done from Soma. Like, he's completely mind game Light, has the Hive Tech on the way. The only thing really going for Light is that this Wraith is going to pick up a couple of Overlords at best. That's not really a big deal.
Yeah, this is like a triple mind game going on right now. Light went for this super early Valkyrie play to try and counter out Soma. Soma throws down the Hydroden and the Spire, gets scouted, so Light doesn't even build a single Valkyrie, and then he comes in with the mutas and hits him like that. This is a pretty unique tactical play here on both sides, really. Soma now going to track down this Wraith. Looks like he'll be able to get the angle on that, finish it off here soon. Meanwhile, making the transition into Hive. Light is just kind of panicking right now, throwing down buildings to try and find a way to transition out of this really weird position where now he's gone back into Valkyries. Like, he started making Valkyries now. Yeah, well, like, where do you even go from here as Light? I guess you just make a bunch of barracks and get some science vessels out, but now there's Lurkers and their transition is well underway.
Well, Soma will be happy if you make Valkyries at this point, right? Like, it will just slow down your vessel count and make it easier to defend, and ultimately, luckily, Light's not going to do that. He's got just a single Valkyrie for point defense and quickly switching into tanks as well as those vessels, so he will be able to put onto some pressure here soon on Soma, but I mean, Soma's just looking so good, man. I really like this like technical play from him and keeping the Terran guessing. Terrans already play so rigid in their build orders, so throwing a wrench into that makes it even harder for the Terran to find their footing in that mid game. And this is where Zerg are at their weakest, is in this mid game phase. This is where all the win percentage of Terran comes from. So if you shut that down and keep the Terran guessing, the chances of you getting into that Defiler tech are even more high. And as a result, I really do like Soma's chances here in this game. He's just starting to eclipse Light on supply even at this point. Look at this, like just trying to slow down Light at any cost. He's not going to attack like this. He's just ready to pull back at a moment's notice and keep Light wasting scans and potentially wasting sieges, and eventually will it looks like he's going to try and do a dive in here. I don't agree with this from Soma, but he will still be able to pull back and slow down Light with this play and try and delay these tanks from getting to his door.
I believe there was a Scourge in there that he was looking to just snipe that vessel with, but yeah. It doesn't really work out too well for him. Now he's heading back home with Defilers at the natural, the various naturals here. He should be able to hold on, no problem. Where's the Nidus Canal? Did you see Nidus Canal anywhere?
I think he's got a Nidus towards the mineral. Oh no, wait, he hasn't. I don't think he has. Maybe he hasn't. No, I don't think he has a Nidus Canal yet.
Is it in the main?
Maybe he put one in the main. Yeah, he must have put it in the main, because I don't see it in the natural. He has the Defiler. I'm not sure if Consumer's ready. Consumer should be finishing up any second now, though. So he should be safe. He should be safe.
Yeah, he's going to be okay here. Just really well done by Soma. Overall, just handling the teched out play here from Light with flying colors and keeping him guessing the entire time. This is the danger, like you were saying, of just going blind into Valkyries. You can end up not having any of these timings kind of work in your favor. Everything behind the curve, and it is a timing attack race. Terran, you need to get in there and deal that damage. Once the Zerg is comfortable and they've got lots of time to hold back their opponent, they've got lots of time to just build up this army, it's going to get way too hard for the Terran. Oh, kind of having a hard time moving forward and actually getting the Dark Swarm here. But will put it down close enough so that the tanks have to back away again. Is there going to be some sort of dropship gamble here from Light, because he really does need a win if he wants to take on Soma in the late game?
Yeah, dropship gambits are great, but you know, you're kind of like pulling the lever on the slot machine with that, so you're not always going to get the value you need. But he has to do something. Look at Soma's anti-drop defense here. He's got pairs of Scourge all over the place, just waiting to respond to an active threat of some kind of drop into the main or the top left. But I mean, Light's doing the correct thing. He's double expanding behind this. He's going to try and get up to additional gases and maybe even battle cruisers or something to go into that late game phase. But the reality is, this is a Zerg's world when you allow them to get into that mid game phase undeterred. Light gonna put on some pressure now, finally. Maybe he can start to crack the egg of Soma. He's gonna just barely get a Dark Swarm down in time, it looks like, but there's no Lurker here to shut this down. Just coming out of the Nidus Canal now are some of those Lurkers preciously, but can Light get into a position where he can maybe start to put a lot of pressure onto these bases? If he can somehow find a little bit of a chink in the armor of Soma, the game can flip really quickly. But he's not really doing the thing of like laying down siege to the Zerg non-stop. You kind of have to apply pressure for extended periods of time, sometimes even like 2 or so minutes, and wait for them to, like, you know, make a mistake in terms of like replenishing those Defilers after they're chain irradiated and what have you. Instead, Light's doing the opposite. He's kind of like leaning back a bit. He's getting additional factories online so he can quickly get to a high count of tanks, and he's looking to play the super long game now.
Yeah, it looks like he's going into mech, actually, loading out those barracks. Sure sign of mech. And yeah, gonna be leaning back a little bit here, opening up the way for Soma to start trying to take initial additional bases. We'll see if he's actually able to hold any of those. He's gonna try and take this one on high ground. Just a mineral only base for now. But that's going to lead into more expansions here soon. Can start to expand in multiple directions. Dark Swarm here at the front. No Lurkers over at this natural. Playing a risky game here by just leaving the natural that wide open. No Lurkers at all. But Ultralisk will be out here soon, Shun. And once he gets those Ultras, all these problems will go away. It'll be time for Soma to get on the aggressive.
Yeah, this is like the second point of weakness for the Zerg, is just, you know, stabilizing these 4 bases, and he's being a bit greedy by pushing out to take that additional mineral only, to be honest with you. It's a little bit on the unnecessary side here from Soma, but he's going to do it nonetheless and be a bit greedier so he can throw down more macro hatcheries and pump out more cracklings to support those critical gas units. And keeping this forward position does benefit Soma ultimately, but I mean, he's going to have to keep this game scrappy once he sees the additional tanks coming out from light, and the floating barracks will be a telltale sign that this is a full mech transition, especially now that he starts to see all of these vultures laying down mines. The vultures aren't a total giveaway. It's possible that, you know, you'll just be trying to lay down mines to catch ultras, but once he starts to see these floating barracks, he's going to really identify that Light's doing a full-on transition here. And I mean, I like what Light's doing. He's applying some pressure to these bases and like kind of forcing skill checks out of Soma, trying to identify. But here's the full one upgraded Ultralisk already, so I'm not sure this is going to accomplish too much. But the Eraser trick might get some drones not actually paying attention enough to that to chase down those drones. He could have got that entire line of drones if he was paying attention. Now they're rotating into the main base though. He could kill a lot of drones here, saying.
Oh my gosh, an eraser trick of this level is going to absolutely throw this game on its head. You can see that Soma is still ahead in supply, but he just lost, I want to say, 15 drones. That was so much damage. He's really going to have to take a step back here and recoup. Trying to send out little forces here like these lurkers is not going to go too well for him. Mines catching a lot of that. One vulture there in the center left part of that top left main. And some mutas are going to be sent out here. Muta's very useful at clearing out mines at this stage in the game. There's not a lot of Goliaths here just yet, and so they can do a great job in that regard. But mines are going to still be clearing up so many ultras, getting so many kills here. Keeping it scrappy though, Soma is going to get in on top of this base.
Oh, I love the look at that surround on the bunker with the SCVs though. That's beautiful from Light. Just preemptive repair as well as the body blocking to deny service area. Like, ultras are great against Terran, but if you're already set up to defend against them in terms of like, you know, buildings blocking their path, or, you know, medics or SCVs, kind of like you see the medic on the ramp there. Luckily Soma's good enough that he's going to manually target some of those units to actually try and clear the way, but it's still enough to buy some valuable time and start to chunk down the HP on those ultras. All these ultras are going to die now, pretty much, except one of them barely getting away with stuff. There's even a mine there actually to catch it if it was to try and run that way. So that's a really big pickup from Light here, starting to thin out the herd of these ultralisks on the ground. As long as Light can stabilize his own positions and not bleed too many tanks like he is now, he could run away with this game.
It's possible, but he's got to stabilize here. Tanks just barely going to finish off that last ultra. This bunker so close to going down. Is he actually going to get the full repair? He does save the base. Barely stabilizing here. But Soma is continuing to run it down, just getting on top of these units one by one, killing off the tanks. Can spread that splash damage. It's not quite at the point right yet that Light can just kind of sit back and tank, or the ultras can't even approach the tank line. You can still take fights right now. And is this a drop coming in as well?
I think so, yeah. I mean, he's got so much more additional minerals because of these mineral-only expansions. I imagine he's just going to be flooding Zerglings with just a few Ultralisks thrown into the mix. And, I mean, he could potentially break this top right if Light's not careful. Getting these forces, even some Lurkers on the high ground. With a Defiler, it's Flying Defiler saying this is a really high-level play from Soma. Could potentially end the game if you had enough units coming in to support that, but I don't think there's enough on the ground to completely overrun this base. He's going to kill all the tanks up there, but he needs just a few more additional units sent to that corner. He's also getting a drop in the main base with some vultures of Soma, so a little bit of back and forth here, but this is definitely favoring Soma overall. You can see just massive amounts of chaos being created by the Zerg player. Terran kind of rushing to rotate around the map and now getting his units caught out in the open as a result.
Yeah, gonna lose the last few tanks over here, and I don't know if he's got the APM right now to deny this as well. No, not able to surround that bunker and save it. These vultures are getting a huge amount of damage actually over at that natural, but is it even going to matter? The top right is about to be broken here. Center right is dead, and there's only a couple of tanks here on high ground to speak of.
Yeah, there's so much units flooding across the map right now. This is a bit of an untenable position for Light. He's plummeting in supply, trying to get some SCVs back to safety. He's got a few tanks in that top right pocket, trying to hold the line, but no support on the ground. So these Zerglings should have a field day as they flood up towards there. He's got some more Ultralisks trying to intercept reinforcing army as well at the natural of Light. I think that Light's about to become completely overrun. He can't hold on any longer. With those Ultras at his rally point, clearing things up as well, he's going to have to think about tapping out soon. Yeah, I think he can hold on to this game for a few more minutes, but this is becoming worse and worse of a position for him. Now Soma's even going to take the 9 o'clock to like supplement for some of that lost mining time of the gas after those are depleted, but GG finally called by Light. That's definitely a good GG timing from him. There's no way he could hold on for any longer in that game.
That last game really showing how keyed in Soma is to the current meta. Able to stand toe-to-toe with that very popular build from Light. Going for super early Valkyries off of one barracks, but Soma made it look a little bit silly. Wasn't able to close out early, but at every point from that early stage, he was in a great position.
Yeah, it was. I just noticed Soma was having some trouble with his mineral optimization. Like he had the drone mining the bottom patch a little bit suboptimally there, and he just fixed it recently. But yeah, he definitely shows a deep understanding of what these Terran players want to do and kind of know how to punish their greedy thought process as well. And that's a scary Zerg. If the Zerg understands the meta and can throw you curveballs like that and keep you guessing as Terran, it means you can't be as greedy against the likes of Soma. These Terrans are gonna not want to cut their scanner timers and stuff like that in the future against him, and makes it harder for them to get away with those cheeky blind plays, at least successfully. Now we've got Snow up to bat with a gateway expand versus Soma. This will be a good test for Snow as well. I haven't seen a lot from Snow's PvZ lately, and I would like to see exactly where that's been at.
Yeah, for sure. Same thing with Soma's ZVP.
Right. Exactly.
Very curious to see how he'll perform against Snow. This is gonna be a nice matchup, Shun. I'm really excited to see who's gonna be able to take this one.
Yeah.
Both of these guys are insanely good. Snow way overdue for an ASL title. Soma looking for an ASL title of his own. Kind of the newer guy on the scene has just been... he's feared. He's for sure feared. Even as a newer guy in the scene, he is certainly a force to be reckoned with. And you could just see why. He has some insane good game knowledge, plus has an extremely exceptional micro control as well. And you can see Snow taking these 4 links very seriously. Like, he's got 2 probes on the ramp just to block here.
Yeah, you can tell by how people respond to units, how much they respect and or fear their opponents. And we've had interviews where, like, they say, like, players like Jaedong, for example, he has this aura about him, so you have to really respect even, like, a small amount of Zerglings. Seems like a big deal psychologically, and that might be the same case here for Soma. Snow might be a little panicky, knowing that Soma is very capable of just winning the game with the first few Zerglings that are out, if you're not careful. So he's taken that extremely seriously. And rightfully so. Soma is one of the most hyper-aggressive Zergs that we have, and he's very comfortable playing all-in plays and that kind of nature. And he killed the probe scout so early that, you know, this could be like a link flood or something, and Snow has to respect that.
He definitely does, and it might indeed be that link flood. He got link speed here before Hydroden or Lair, and he pulled off of gas, so he only had drones on gas, and it seems like he still only has 2 drones on gas. So something like a Ling Flood is definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. In fact, I would say it's pretty likely. There's the layer now, though. How many Lings is he going to build after this initial group? Trying to get this 1 Zealot if he can. Nice job trading 1 Zealot for 1 Ling. Pretty sick here at the front in the wall.
That's crazy. Like, he had his Zerglings like pressed up against each other so much so that he could get 3-on-1 trades in that tight little corridor still. And a little bit of a greed here from Snow. He's feeling very brazen all of a sudden. He's pretty sure that Soma didn't make additional links behind this. And he's doing a 4 Zealot move-out timing despite one of them getting sniped. The Protoss player ideally wants to do a 5 Zealot move-out timing. So he's kind of playing outside the meta by doing this. But he's hoping that Soma was being greedy and making drones and wants to punish that and force Zerglings in response. And he will force those Zerglings, but at the risk of getting all of these Zealots surrounded, this isn't as strong of a force as it should be with that 5th Zealot taken out already, and Soma looking to gobble these up quickly.
Yeah, the 5 Zealot timing weakened by that early surround by Soma. Now it's just going to get wiped clean, making this play look kind of useless here. 5 Zealots?
Questionable, yeah.
Yeah, why would you ever attack like that? Only 2 on the gas still. Thought I noticed that earlier. Thought that was maybe part of the build order here, but it seems like Soma may have just made a mistake. There's no way you should be off of gas or only having 2 on gas for this long, I don't think. Really?
Well, it depends. If he wants to do 6-hatch Hydra and not make Mutalisk, like literally just make a couple of pairs of Scourge, then that makes sense. But look at this from Snow. He's making a 2nd Stargate. We've had this a lot in recent times, and we've kind of disagreed with the thought process most of the time when you go for this kind of 2nd Stargate play. Like, what is making him do this? I don't know what the thought process is from Snow that he thinks that a 2nd Stargate is the answer, because I don't think it is, and I think it's going to hurt him.
Yeah, it really seems that way. He did put back into the gas now. He has 3 on gas, and he's going to start mining his natural gas as well. So he can make some Scourge. As the Evolution Chamber has the Hydra Den, so he's ready to make this switch. And I don't think Snow's going to be ready for it, man. I really wish that Protoss players would abandon the 2 Stargate play. It seems like only Bisu's capable of pulling it off, and even that's not a guarantee.
I tell you what, I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I guess because of the lack of scouting information, and he's worried that this was a very fast Spire timing from Soma, and he didn't identify the build correctly because of how quickly the probe died, and the Zealots got cleaned up so efficiently that he had no scouting information to confirm what he should do. So he feels like he's kind of like rolling the dice and trying to play catch up, but he loses the Corsair as well to just a few Scourge. This is not looking good for Snow at all. He didn't even get any confirmation scout with that initial Corsair. The only thing going for him is that this 2nd Stargate has remained unspotted for the time being here. It does seem like he's worried about some kind of Mutalisk timing from Soma, but it's not coming. He's just doing a 6-hatch Hydra play, but has got 3 gases, so maybe he is thinking about some kind of Mutalisk into 6-hatch Hydra, but I don't know, man. Like, either way, I think Soma's in an okay spot.
Yeah, Hydras are going to start popping out now. It looks like he may lose a couple of Overlords. The Hydra upgrades are not quite there yet, so it's going to take a while for these to get into the main. Oh, he actually finished he finished a speed upgrade there just in the nick of time, but still, 2 Overlords end up going down, Scourge out as well, and yeah, there's going to be a ton of Hydras to follow this up. Go ahead.
Have you noticed the theme right now? Like, this is a pattern. Like, he lost the Corsair and went with 4 rather than waiting for 5. And he did that with the Zealots. He got one of them sniped and went with 4. So he's kind of like repeating the same pattern of behavior, not wanting to allow Soma to disrupt his ebb and flow and trying to force the issue here. I think Soma's just now about to see that 2nd Stargate with the Scourge to definitely confirm what he's up against. Now he'll want to produce about 2 or so control groups of Hydras to kind of camp underneath his Overlords to prevent too much of a supply block from occurring. Has lost a lot of those Zealots early on, so there's not as much of a threat on the ground as there should be. But usually you'd want to come in with these Corsairs and Zealots at the same time and put the Zerg in a bit of a spot of bother, because they can't choose whether or not to shoot the Zealots and protect their Hydras and drones, or shoot the Corsairs and protect their Overlords in the sky. But at this point in the game, there's not really that big of a threat on the ground, at least for the time being. So just predominantly relying on those Corsairs to do a lot of heavy lifting.
He's also hoping that he can just get away with a free base up here on the high ground. Not going to happen. Soma on top of that. He sees it with the Ling there. And he's got enough Hydras to definitely deny a quick base like this. Some Overlords have gone down. In fact, there's more Overlords down at the bottom right-hand corner. If he manages to find those, that could be quite painful. Looks like he's going to find these Overlords here, and the Overlords just to the south there. Oh, I think someone just barely managed to keep those out of the vision, actually. So he's going to keep them alive. Hydra's moving up towards his third base. Oh, he's going to lose every Ling. Oh, he saves two. Hey, Soma.
Small win.
I mean,
Silver
small
lining.
win there. Yeah, it's tough to watch out for that. I basically lose my Lings every single time to a play like that, but looks like Soma on top of it a little bit more. There's a big connection with a ton of Scourge. Oh my gosh. Almost every single Corsair goes down, and he can actually hold this with almost purely rallies back at home. He's got the eggs on the left-hand side of the hatch to make that a super tight location to try and shove the Zealots through, and now the drones can pull off the line here, just do a little bit of extra blocking. Yeah, he'll lose a couple of drones, but this is absolutely worth it for what he's killed.
Oh, absolutely. And he's basically losing so many Zealots to accomplish that. Not worth it for Snow in the slightest. And he's got so much hatchery worth of production. They're replenishing a few drones at this point in the game. It's not a big deal. He'd rather, make that trade, like lose like 4 drones to kill that many Zealots when the Zealots, sorry, with the Protoss player is already starving for having a high count of Zealots to begin with. There's not going to be any support for these High Templars on the ground pretty much at all. And without a third base already being established here from Soma, if he doesn't get cannons on the high ground immediately, he's not going to ever be able to expand successfully. He's going to put on some counter pressure with a Dark Temple at the 6 o'clock, but look at this from Soma. Overlord with Hydras to shut that down, so he's getting a 4th base online while also having such an advantage in pretty much every metric, eclipsing Snow in supply, way more production, and Snow just seems so sure that there's going to be a Mutalisk switch, that he's even got a Dark Archon. I mean, at this point, I feel like he's got to cut his losses and just change up his mindset and realize that Soma's going to be beating him on the ground soon.
Yeah, I think he's just hoping for the best, hoping that there's going to be that transition and that he'll be ready for it. It's not going to happen. Soma's identified correctly what's going on, and he knows exactly how to counter it. He's doing it perfectly right now. Has a good enough number of Hydras here. Plus those Lurkers are just going to wreck the Zealots if they decide to attack into that base. And so he's not even going to try it. DT managed to slip around though. Ooh, DT goes the long way and finds his way into this base. 4 kills, 3 kills? Lurker there. Pretty lucky for Soma that he had that.
Yeah, and the DT was already softened up, so it didn't take too long for the Subterranean Spines to rip through it. Nice little win for Snow, but not good enough. We still have Soma, more supply, and he was in Battle Zerg mode for quite a while there, just making nothing but Hydras and Lurkers, but now he's throwing down that Queen's Nest for a transition, so he's not even putting all of his eggs in one basket right now. He's happy to transition into a late game phase. This is going to be full-on desperation mode for Snow now. Stuck on 2 bases versus a 4-base Zerg that is happy to transition into Hive regardless of you not having a 3rd base. The clock is ticking for Snow.
Yeah, he's going to get in here, a couple more kills on some of these drones. Zealots are doing their absolute best to be, to remain active and just look for whatever damage they can, but they will eventually be killed. Maybe one more drone? Oh, just not quite. That's so much stuff, dude. He has so much stuff here. Now, there is a a possibility that Snow can hold from a high ground if Soma just tries to ram it down. If he tries to go up one of these high grounds, try to attack the pizza slice, or go up onto that 3rd, potentially Snow could hold that with flying colors and make a comeback in this game. But if Soma doesn't make any mistakes and waits for Hive, I think this is a done deal. He's so far ahead.
Right, well, the thought process from a lot of Zergs is you can allow them to get this third base online, and you force a fight once they try and take a fourth base and they're out of position. But yeah, you're right, trying to attack up to high ground to this third base can be disastrous. You're going to try and go for the rally point, though. There are a lot of Dragoons in position, some pretty good storms coming out. Oh, that's a monstrous storm on the eastern flank as well. Will Soma ram it down a little bit too preemptively? Seems like he's realizing that it's smart to kind of just tactically withdraw right now. Try and keep the Protoss player on 3 bases only. I think that's the smart play here from Soma. Just expand. He's taking the base in the bottom left. Just expand and keep the Protoss on 3 bases for as long as possible. And when he does try and take a 4th base, that's when you start to force a fight. And I think that's the right choice.
Yeah, I think it's the prudent choice here. Soma going to be getting into his hive shortly. All of his upgrades are going to be coming online soon as well. Pulling back just a little bit, baiting the army to come in and fight him. If that army was to commit onto the high ground on the left-hand side, flanking army could come up from the rally point here from Soma and deal a lot of damage. Defiler Mound here in the main has started now, and Snow's actually on the warpath. He's coming forward. I think that Soma might be in a little bit of disarray here. He doesn't have all of his lurkers spread. He's going to go ahead and spread those now. There's the Maelstrom. It actually catches one of those lurkers before it can burrow, but gonna come up and flank this army now. Can he actually kill the entirety of the Protoss force? Another great Maelstrom there on the lurkers as they advance. Hydras and Lings rushing forward. Here's the lurkers trying to get the full surround. He's pushing everything back into this corner. It's getting tighter and tighter as the walls close in on Snow. Can he actually finish this army? Oh, some few more storms here, a few more High Templars still alive, and the Dragoons are going to have to run. Now it's the cleanup here from Soma as all the High Templars go down. That is a very good pickup. Just clearing out that full army is absolutely everything he needed.
Yeah, he softened the death ball of Protoss so significantly. Like, Snow's in trouble. Like, he needs to somehow defend his 3rd and his 4th and put on some pressure to these bases in the bottom left, and accomplishing both means he'll probably fail at both as well if he tries to go for that. So just like he's picking the aggression and trying to run it down, force a reaction out of Soma rather than allow Soma to be aggressive to him. And it's a bit of a Hail Mary from Snow, but it's just the kind of thing he needs to do to come back in the game. Just a question of whether or not he'll be successful or not. The High Templar's not quick enough to get up with this army, though, so they're going to be potentially sniped out in the open if he's not careful. Does manage to get a few of those storms down regardless and start to blanket some of those Zerg units, and trying to avoid being boxed in by the forces of Soma as he rotates around now to the left-hand side. Those are some pretty good storms, but he's running dry on energy, and Soma's just got such a monstrous macro powerhouse behind this that it's Snow that's the one that's being worn thin here, and Soma getting these double expansions up in the bottom left quadrant pretty much undeterred spells disaster for Snow. I mean, he's even got some lurkers morphing at this mineral only base. If Snow's not paying attention, they could even just push forward and quickly ravage the probe line.
There's just such a massive advantage now. Soma 40 supply advantage here. Gonna be shoving it up through the middle. That 40 supply difference, it means so much more in this matchup because Hydras are so cheap. They cost only 1 supply. Lings 2 for 1 supply as well. So having a big supply advantage as a Zerg over Protoss, it's massive. It makes such a huge difference here, and you can just see how futile it looks to try and fight this army. There's not a lot of Dragoons here. Lings are just spilling in. Lurkers running forward and burrowing on top of everything. Okay, making a few mistakes here and there. Soma is macroing up behind this, just pounding out units like crazy and trying to defend these little Zealot counterattacks. So he's missing a few key moves in his micro, but in the end, it's not really going to matter. Snow gets overwhelmed, and Soma takes another victory. As Soma continues to dominate, it reminds me of Jaedong's performance. What was that, 2-3 weeks ago, Shun? Except for Jaedong when he got his all kill. Everything was so tight, so scrappy, and right down to the wire. Here, Soma just pure domination.
Right.
kind of
Yeah, we haven't really
outdoing these
seen-
guys. Yeah.
You haven't seen a close game with Soma in the KCM just yet. Let's see if Sharp can rise to the occasion and give us a very close back and forth game. I don't know, man. Like, Soma is just a different kind of animal. I feel like stepping away from this scene a little bit and kind of being in the shadows for a little bit of time could be a huge advantage to you, because players kind of stop thinking about your style and what they need to do against you, and when you come back into the scene, it's like they've got to readjust you all over again. I think one of the things that's so hard to rise up in the pro gamer scene in Starcraft is as soon as you get onto the radar of the pro gamers and they figure out your style and how you like to play and what you're good at, what you're not good at, they'll meta game you until the cows come home, and you'll never be able to get a consistent win rate for a very long time. There's only a few players like Saxery and Saber that have been able to like breach the massive bodies that are trying to scramble to that highest echelons of play, and only a few of them get their heads out from that mass of just warm bodies trying to do so. But I would say, like, being able to step away from the battlefield entirely and kind of perfect and hone your skills kind of in the shadows is a big advantage for Soma.
It seems to be that way. I honestly feel like just stepping away from the game occasionally can help I end up improving a little bit as well. Like, taking a week off, sometimes it feels like nothing works and everything's poor when you end up trying to come back, but occasionally it can be good. It can be kind of strengthening to just sit back and just be an observer for a little bit and kind of think about the game in a different way. I wonder if Soma has done any sort of special practice regimen while he's been away. I know he's been laddering like crazy, but we don't really know what he's been doing in custom games, who he's been practicing with and who he's been learning from. And so he's kind of a mystery right now, and that mystery, you know, might be the answer to a big tournament like the ASL. He's certainly performing very, very well so far. Only making the 2 lings though, and Sharp is going to come out here with some pressure. Not nearly as tentative as Light with the Marines, and as I say that, he turns around and heads home.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does have another pair of Zerglings hatching out that would have been able to respond in time here. So it actually might help out Sharp a little bit. I feel like even though he would have lost some mining time with those drones, he probably wouldn't have lost any, and those 4 Zerglings would have cleaned up those Marines. So I think it was the right decision to pull back at that moment from Sharp. I don't think he can handle losing some Marines early against the likes of Soma and be safe. You kind of need to survive the Mutalisk phase in as better shape as possible. And Soma, if you let him get an inch, he's going to take a mile. So you do not want to extend your fingers towards him just in case he bites your whole hand off.
I'm curious here if Sharp will be able to get a SCV out or not. He's actually going to pull all the way back. There's been quite a few lings made. One of the big glaring holes in the play when Terran does this build is the lack of early Marines. If you can spot the number of Marines here, you can kind of glean what the Terran player is doing. And going for a ling all-in can be really, really powerful in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that he has to do something like that, but he's got that option here, and Sharp just doesn't have any information out on the map.
Well, especially with the fact that pretty much all of these new maps have this feature where it forces the Terran to have at least one hole in their wall-in, which I think is a great change, by the way. I think like the era where Terran players were getting away with perfect wall-ins was a bit unfair, and gave you no counterplay to some of the strict, rigid build order range of play that they could go for. And I mean, I don't think he's necessarily going to go for something like a Zergling Flood to punish that. But it's good to keep those options open in StarCraft. I feel it does look like it's going to be that full barracks style play, slightly delaying his range to do so, but not so dramatically that he'll be in a big point of weakness. There is a bit of a window you can punish that as mutas. You just come in and clear up some of that Bioforce's Well, there's not a lot of turrets either, because he can't really afford to make all those barracks and marines and loads of turrets, so he'll have only a few turrets initially that maybe Soma can start to exploit.
And Soma's just moving his lings so much, man. He is crazy fast with that 400 APM. Constantly checking the position of the marines and just seeing if there's an opportunity to run by, if there's anything sticking out at all, if there's a medic that happened to walk forward just a little bit, he's going to be right on top of that. Already got 2 marine kills. That lack of range is hurting him right now, but it's going to be coming online here pretty soon. That's a lot of marines, actually. He's doing a great job here with the first few mutas.
I mean, that's really crazy. And now look at this. He's pressuring the supply depot so severely. He's got 8 mutalisks that are ready to run in if Sharp overextends just even slightly right now. A little bit of problems for Terran right now. He's supply blocked, 44 to 44. After that supply depot got killed, so he can't produce anything critically. So already being whittled down his marine count, unable to replenish. You can see those factories not even blinking at the time. Has thrown down a couple of additional turrets to supplement, but the reality is that Soma's transitioning behind this to boot. This isn't like some kind of 2-base all-in play. He's got a 3rd base, and he's going to be getting that hive on the way. So this is really successful pressure from Soma thus far.
Yeah, this hurts, losing the supply depot so early. Definitely painful here for Sharp, and he's not really able to move out just yet. That transition is going to be coming online here shortly, and assuming that Soma can slow down this bio a little bit and take some good trades with it, he should be able to get into his lurker play without too much trouble. Sharp adding on a factory now, but it's a long way off from vessels here or tanks, and so there's going to be a great opportunity for Soma as he makes this transition happen to just drone up like crazy, get into that 4th base on the high ground, and take Sharp into the very late stages of this game in this matchup. Just drag him down to the bottom of the pool.
He's got 4 medics, so he can stim pretty liberally here. I mean, he can still bait stims, but if he makes progress while he's stimming and gains some ground, that's key. He got a little bit of marine reinforcements to this Bible, so it is posing some threat to Soma here. But I mean, Soma's just done such a good job of just shaving him down and keeping him lined up in this game. Got a few safety sunkens as well, just in case Sharp was hyper aggressive and tried to run it down on him. Finally getting a bit more reinforcements to that Bible, but I'm not sure it's going to be so successful at putting pressure onto Soma. I mean, as soon as like the 9-minute mark has been reached, you're almost safe as Zerg. The Defiler Mound will be on the way, the Lurker eggs will start to be hatching, and that's all Soma's really worried about, is just keeping Terran on his side of the map, at least until that 9-minute mark rolls by and he can fully start to transition into his late game gradually.
Those early game kills. Oh, he's going to actually dive into the natural, jumping on top of these marines on the high ground, trying to go after the turrets here as well. He's just going to draw all the forces back from Sharp, and this has already accomplished its mission. Get into the main base, cause some ruckus here, try to pick off a few marines as he returns back out of the base, but lurkers are done. Done. He's ready already. I mean, Soma's just looking so good from the very beginning, picking off, 4 or 5 marines until this point. He is feeling absolutely fantastic. He's got the lurkers burrowed out here on the map. Oh my gosh. Old position lurker. Lurker landmine, absolutely sick. He won't be able to finish off this Bioforce with the mutas now, but he just killed so much bio of Sharp. Sharp just going to have to kind of run home here. He will have a tank out. He's going to try a tank push, but the Defiler's Mound is done.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Look
have
at that.
Oh, great Aspire.
He's gonna make a couple of Guardians to defend. I mean, we've talked about this a lot in previous casts, how you know, a few Guardians like protect you on that weakest point of transition, that like 30 seconds or so while waiting for that consume to finish. Terrans can exploit that quite heavily, and you know, making a small round of Guardians basically closes that window on the Terran and counters the tank push pretty evenly, I would say. So I mean, this is a little bit problematic for Sharp. Like, he's kind of hoping that this tank push, this gambit, will pay off in a big way, but some Guardians are probably going to shut that down in the nick of time.
I mean, he's going to have consume, I think, as well. Yeah, I don't even think he needs the Guardians. It looks like he'll just consume and drop the Dark Swarm, and this there's no push here. There's no push at all. Dark Swarm, Lurker in the front, and I think Sharp is just about cooked, guys. Like, I don't want to oversell it here, but Sharp is in such a difficult position now. As long as there's Defilers with Dark Swarm at each base, there's not really a way to get in here.
Well, his factory was a little bit late as well, so these vessels are kind of lagging behind. He's only just now got a vessel to the front line, so without much irradiate available to him, it's really hard for him to lay extended siege to the Zerg and put them on a bit of a clock of trying to not make a mistake. And that's kind of what Sharp's hoping for right now. He's hoping for a mistake out of Soma where he misses having a Defiler in a key location or something, and that's just not going to happen. And we got a few Guardians now and morphing so that he'll be even more defended than he would usually be. And there's just not going to be many opportunities of attack for Sharp, and he's going to have to just start expanding himself and trying to think of a way of playing catch up in this game. Maybe he can get a dropship gambit going at some point, but I don't know, man. Like, Soma just looks almost unbeatable at this moment.
He certainly does. I mean, gonna track down these lurkers, but this is fine for Soma. Just he wants you to waste your time attacking these over in the top left-hand corner. Like, meanwhile, he's getting all of his upgrades. He's droning. He's gonna take his fourth now. He's got plenty of lurkers. He's gonna get a couple more defilers out. Yeah, there's not a real way to get in here. The defenses are already set. Dropship's gonna come out, but Scourge are ready. Maybe he can slip into bottom left. That might be something. If he can get into bottom left,
all right,
maybe he can slow down the fourth base long enough to give himself a bit of a fighting chance, but even that's going to be very hard at this point.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the vessels to do what he needs to do, unfortunately. He's saying, like, he can't, like, it's like Soma's getting away with just like one single lurker under Dark Swarm holding a good position. If he had like just a few more irradiates, Soma couldn't get away with this kind of greedy play. Coming down to the bottom, that's a monstrous plague as well. So much chili sauce all over those Terran units. A little bit worried now for Sharp, soaking up some arc-light shot cannon shots with some Zerglings to get a leapfrogged Dark Swarm and Lurker closer to the front line, and giving himself so much oxygen and room to maneuver here as he makes some macro hatcheries in that bottom left as well. He's even got these Guardians just chilling in the main base, acting as anti-drop defense if he were to commit forces to the main base of Soma. Does seem like he wants to attack this bottom left, and Soma just saw the scan down there as well, and you can really tell where a Terran wants to attack based on where they're scanning, so I'm sure Soma's aware of this.
Yeah, he is. He didn't have two Scourge, unfortunately, so wasn't able to actually pick that off. Dark Swarm. All right, Dark Swarm does go down. Lings are going to be able to clear this for the most part, and then the extra units will get through here. Yeah, he's even going to get both of these dropships, I believe. Dropships? Is he going to get the dropships? He should definitely kill these drops. Okay, he is going to move and kill the drops now. And that was really the last shot for Sharp. He's got one vessel. One vessel. He tries to take a third. He's going to try and take a fourth as well. Ultras are about to start popping out here in large numbers, and all the macro hatches are online. Oh, there's a little bit of weakness here. Gonna dive into the natural. Dark Swarm in the front. One Fire Bat there to try and hold. Great Dark Swarm here on the mineral line, just holding everything. And the Plague comes through to just annihilate this army as well.
I mean, for a brief second there, I thought maybe Sharp can make something of this, but Soma smacking those hopes down. Just immaculate play from him, and I like the idea from Sharp. He is one of these guys that does like to do run-bys and stuff to try and find some kind of damage, but Soma just on top of everything, man. Like, I don't even know what you're supposed to do against this as Terran. Unless you find some kind of mid-game timing, you're in trouble. And Soma is just going to bring these Guardians to bear now as well to, you know, soak up some irradiates and get some kind of value out of them rather than just sitting in the main base all game long. Just as the Ultras are coming out as well, so if he does waste some irradiates onto those Guardians, he's in trouble. And if he ignores the Guardians are providing a lot of ground support and allowing Soma to lay siege to some of these bases as well. There's not really a good answer here for Sharp. It's our job as a caster to basically show you how the other guy can win, but being honest with you, like, there's not a lot of hope for Sharp. He is 20 supply behind. Pretty much anything he does right now will still lead to a loss, and he just doesn't have the vessel count to do what he needs to do to come back in this game. And this position at 12 o'clock will be dismantled by a handful of Guardians because he's wasting all of his irradiates on these Ultras.
Well, softening up those Ultras is definitely worthwhile. Now some tanks are going to start to go down here over at the top center base. That's for sure. Tanks are going to start to fall. You can go after these bunkers as well. Finally put some Scourge in the sky, so can, you know, potentially shut down these vessels. They're definitely annoying right now, dealing a lot of damage to the Guardians, but hitting multi-pronged attacks right now. 12 o'clock and this base are going to be denied here shortly, I believe, and Sharp is going to have to tap out of this game. There's just way too much stuff. At least he's got +3. There's only +4 armor here for the Ultras, but Defiler makes its way forward as well, and there's just not enough mass of Marines to hold on. And there it is. GG is called. There it is.
Yeah,
he taps out. Kind of nowhere to go here for Sharp, and again, another dominant performance from Soma.
위기가 없습니다. 이거는 뭐 지나가던 어떤 그냥 일반 스타크래프트 좋아하시는 분들한테 보여줘도 저거 왜 이렇게 잘해요? 2명 될 것 같고. 오늘의 기세는 올킬이 나올 기세입니다. 맞아요.
Stork versus Soma now with Stork down here in the bottom left-hand corner, Soma in the bottom right. Is there any chance for Stork? I feel like he's going to have to do something absolutely wild if he wants to take down Soma. He just looks crazy on fire today. And Stork just has not been, he's just not been up to snuff lately.
No, but he is opening up with a Gateway First expands, which usually spells confidence, and Stork is, you know, typically speaking, a Forge expand kind of guy. So I'm curious to see if he's got something cooked up for us here today and is feeling more confident than usual. I have to see how that pans out against Soma, who's so warmed up already. 3 kills under his belt, looking for a 4th. Maybe eyeing up that double all kill as well to really establish himself in this scene and letting everyone know exactly how capable he is. We already kind of fear him a little bit, but getting a double all kill in the KCM will start to solidify and confirm those beliefs that he is someone to be really wary of.
Yeah, establishing dominance. There's no better way to do it than a double all kill in KCM. Like, yeah, you can beat someone in a best of 7. Maybe they tilt. Maybe they have a hard time. But going back and forth between 2 different races with some of the best players in the world, very few players can pull that off. And it really does make a statement.
Yeah,
we'll have to see if that statement will be made here today. If Stork or one of these other players can shut Soma down before he just runs through the entire lineup.
Well, let's see this little bit of a skill check here from Soma. We got Stork's Zealot and Probe blocking the ramp, and now Soma going to try and get us around on that other Zealot, as well as potentially open up the wall in to the main base to see if he can squeeze those in. Seems like Stork doing a good job of not being caught too much of his pants down. Waiting for that 3rd Zealot to pop out to save the day. It's just coming out now. There it is. And yeah, I mean, this is an interesting thing. We pretty much always see this now with Gateway Expand, with this bit of a skill check coming out from the Zerg, and that's why this is a slightly hard build order to go for. You kind of really need to know all the behavior trees and know how to dot your I's and cross your T's when you do an opening like this, because there are a few things you have to do to avoid disaster against the Zerg, and that's one of them.
So there's only 6 Lings out here, and there's 4 Zealots. Or 3 Zealots, excuse me. 4 Zealots now. So, I mean, that on paper technically wins, but Stork can't really attack here because Soma's threatening the run by, he's threatening the backstab. He's just keeping those 4 Lings to the north there, and has this Overlord to see when the Zealots decide to move out. And so Stork is a little bit stuck. He can't really move. He's going to build his Cybernetics core in the front of the wall, which might help him out a little bit later because a Hydra bust is incoming. Soma is actually going to come over here and try to get in, possibly with the 973. Are there going to be enough cannons ready for this? Stork just starts his first cannon now.
Let's highlight that this is a bit unorthodox from Soma. You don't usually go for a 973 against a gateway expand unless you catch a Zealot or 2 at the start of the game, and he hasn't done that. So Soma either wanting to really trick Stork by making him think this isn't coming and taking him by surprise, or just is so confident in his abilities that he doesn't mind doing a suboptimal build order based on this early opening. Maybe he just feels so confident that he's gonna wipe out Stork here that he doesn't mind that he's not killed a Zealot or 2 at the start of the game. It's a little bit unusual. You don't go for this as Zerg unless you have got some kind of early lead in trading, or they can just come across the map and press you with those Zealots and get a free scout and have the correct response in how many cannons they make against you. And seems like Soma's just says that he's confident enough that against Stork that it doesn't matter that he's not going to be in an optimal position, and he's going to go for it anyway.
Yeah, he's just going to threaten the Ling run by. That's it. I mean, Stork just so scared that these Lings will get in behind him and suddenly kill the cannon. He has to stay back. Did he make another cannon there behind that? I don't think so. I think it's just the 1 cannon, and here's the Hydras at the wall already. Total surprise for Stork. He had no idea that this was coming, and he's going to start to regret his decisions here. Corsair doing a lot of damage to this Overlord. He's actually going to have to turn and try to kill that Corsair soon. Cannot allow this Overlord to go down, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Cannons are being built way far back here in the wall. He really wants to defend these, and he's not worried about losing this wall at all.
Yeah, I mean, replacing the core is annoying, just like a bit of extra minerals in the forge, and you need that for, you know, your robo and your dragoon tech. And the reality is that Soma's going to transition behind this. This isn't an all-in Hydra bust at all. He's just trying to put Stork on the back foot and, you know, navigate into a bit more of a normal mid-game after the fact. And I mean, this works out for Soma. Like, Stork has done what he should do in response to this, but that plays into Soma's hands, unfortunately. I feel like, even though this isn't the worst case scenario for Stork, I feel like this is exactly what Soma wanted.
Yeah, he's directing the flow of the game here so far. Stork is dancing to his rhythm, and he's going to start throwing down a bunch of gateways now. Try to get into a reasonable Zealot count, get some High Templars out here as well, and maybe put some pressure on. But I have a feeling that Soma's going to have that 6-hatch Hydra ready to go here sooner rather than later. He may even want to throw down a Spire. We haven't seen that yet, but when you can see, yeah, okay, there's the layer coming up now. He might want to switch into Spire here after the fact, though. It can be really powerful when your opponent is on the ropes like this. They've only built 1 Corsair, and they've kind of halted on that production for some time.
Yeah, he's got the second gas early. Let's see if he mines it with all 3, or if he only mines it with like 2 or so. If you're wanting to do a 6-hatch Hydra, you won't necessarily mine all 3 on gas in that natural right away. Looks like he is, though, wanting to catch up. Needs to be careful not to get these Hydras caught by those Zealots that now have their leg enhancements. He is mining 3 on gas in that natural, I believe, so definitely might be thinking about Mutalisk transition as well as that 3rd gas going down seems to solidify that thought process. Can he defend against this Zealot timing effectively? He needs a little bit more of extra Sim City, really, to make this effective. So Stork could maybe apply a lot of pressure here to Soma if he wanted to. He's at least forcing lost mining time, because there's not enough Sim City to defend with Hydras alone. He's going to rotate around towards where the third is and force some Hydras out of position. Trying to get a 1-2 punch going with a run by into the third with some 2 Zealot combo here as well, but I mean, I don't know, like, this is okay from Stork. He's catching a few of the Hydras here and there, but hasn't yet found critical damage.
Soma has a Spire on the way. Unclear if he's going to go for Hydra and Muta, or if he's going to get into Lurkers here immediately, but I imagine it's going to be a Muta switch up now. Enough Hydras have been made that the Zealots can't quite stand and fight anymore, and so he's going to start to get aggressive. 2 High Templar heading to the high ground here at the third. He's actually going to try and hold this third base. DT on the ramp will really slow down this attack at a critical moment. If he could just keep the Hydras off the high ground, then these High Templars can do their work. He's just about in range here, trying to come up this ramp. Cannons are going to finish. Stork getting away with a really quick third base.
Yeah, this is nice for Stork. Like, this is something that could actually propel him into a better and better position the longer this goes on. He's got a Zealot in top right, slowing down the 4th base timing of Soma. These are some great plays from Stork all of a sudden. And, I mean, if he can somehow get a win against Soma, that's going to be great. He's even going to get that drone. Sees the other drone coming up there. But just delaying that 4th a little bit and getting the 3rd base up online undeterred. Definitely giving a lot of hope for our Protoss player to go the distance against Soma and at least make the game closer than some of these others have been. And it'd be kind of surprising to see Stork being the one taking the fight to Soma and these other guys coming up short. So it would be lovely to see the dinosaur Protoss kind of rise from the dead and reanimate those bones.
He's got an opportunity here with that 3rd base online. Definitely not in a bad position, despite some of the control being stolen away from him in the early game and being forced to dance to the rhythm of Soma. He's managed to get this base online, pressure with those Zealots, and now he's just sitting back, powering on 3 base. A giant 3 base attack is going to be hard to stop. What is Soma's antidote to that? Is he going to build up a huge Lurker contain there at the natural choke? Is he going to build a bunch of Mutalisks now? Lurkers it is, starting to spread out Sunkens in towards this choked up area here. And it's likely that he's going to just explode into Hive. Late game Zerg is on the way, Shun.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play the super late game against Stork and just make it really difficult for Stork to take a 4th base. He's gonna have to completely allow this 3rd to go uncontested, try and establish his own 4th, get the macro hatcheries going, get the tech online, get the Evo chambers evolving out technology, and eventually take this game into the distance. But that's the only problem that Stork's gonna have, is once it does get to that mid to late game transition, getting a 4th base online, like say at the 9 o'clock, is just so far away from his rally point and 3rd. It's hard to defend on 2 fronts and get that established, so you either have to sneak it out and distract the Zerg while you're doing it, or win on the trades to the point where the Zerg cannot pressure both locations successfully enough to stop you. And both of those things are going to be a little bit tricky for Stork to accomplish, but it's certainly in the realms of possibilities, so I'm liking his chances a lot more than I were a few minutes ago.
Lots of map vision right now for Soma as he spreads out his overlords all over the place. Really liking this defensive position from him as well, throwing down a bunch of sunken colonies over here at the natural, really just choking up that area. He knows it's going to be some sort of 3 base timing where there's going to be a ton of Dragoons, Zealots, and High Templars making their way forward. Having those Sunkens there in the front is just going to make it so much harder to push that area, and everything else is a high ground, so that's the most likely place that Stork tries to push through.
But he's going to go for that 4th base now, is Stork at the 9 o'clock. Soma's scouted that with an Overlord, so he's trying to rotate around with some units to shut that down. Just 4 Zealots and some Corsairs might not be enough to stop that from being taken out by Soma. He's got a lot of forces up there. He's identified where the army is with that scouting Zergling, so he's going to feel pretty confident to pull the trigger and get up here onto the high ground. He knows there's probably not a lot up here to slow this down. Might be forcing a cancel on this Nexus already, and there it goes. There's that cancellation, trying to hide the probe behind the mineral line. Can Stork run it down in his fortified position? These Sunkens, as you were saying, making that so much more cost ineffective. He's going to still cycle out those storm abilities to cycle out and trade as many units as possible, but honestly, Soma coming out ahead on those trades, and this Lurker Egg Micro on the 9 o'clock also paying off in a big way for Soma, just making a few Hydras that were being targeted into eggs to body block and glitch out the Zealots, making that trade go more his way and setting up to shut down that 4th base from being taken later as well.
I mean, this is perfect control from Soma, not just micro control, but just like game controls. He's absolutely controlling this game and forcing Stork to do what he wants him to do. He's kind of pushed him into this spot where he sort of has to attack into this natural, and then he's just got amazing defenses over here that just cannot be broken. There's so many lurkers. He's got the Nidus for quick rallies. He's got a bunch of sunken colonies here. I mean, he kind of has to try and ram it down, and more lings are going to continue to come out here, and eventually there's going to be enough to where Soma can surround and hit this from behind. Oh my gosh, he's taking the middle. Craziness right now. Stork trying to take that center base. Here's the Dark Swarm. Lurkers come forward. You don't even have a Zealot. You don't have a Zealot to break through this. So that's not going to happen. Dark Swarm will be the end of this attack.
Well, the Storm actually caught both of those Lurkers. Like, that was one of the most perfect. To give Stork some credit, I've not seen a Storm more perfectly placed in a long time, that he was able to kill 2 Lurkers at opposite angles quite as effectively as that. So at least got to put some respect on his name for clicking the perfect pixel to take out both of those Lurkers with just a single Storm. But it is looking so hard for him to run it down and be successful here. Finally got some Zealots on the ground to fight underneath that Dark Swarm, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Plague will also be finishing soon. If he gets some chili sauce on this Protoss forces, these lings are going to chew through them so quickly. He's not I don't think he's actually got the tech of the Plague just yet, so he's predominantly just throwing down those Cheeto dust clouds for the time being, but pretty soon that Plague's going to come online. Can Stork break through now? Kill this Nidus Canal, cut off the reinforcements. He's getting on top of some of these Defilers as well. This could be a big moment for the Dinosaur Toss. Maybe Soma in a little bit of a panic as he tries to re-establish control. Somehow, some way, Stork has managed to puncture through that defensive line. As long as he can keep these forces alive and trading well, there is a glimmer of hope here as he takes that center base to keep his forces alive. But finally, the monstrous Plague comes out, covers those Dragoons in chili sauce. And even though this attack is looking really strong right now, as long as Soma can scramble some kind of defenses, maybe he can flip the script. But it looks like so far, Stork is in a really powerful situation.
How did this happen, Shun? How did he actually break through this? This is crazy to me. I mean, maybe it was that one storm where he killed 2 Lurkers under Dark Swarm. Just a couple more Lurkers there with the Dark Swarm on top of them, and I think that Soma completely holds, but he's actually going to lose his natural now, and Stork is mining healthily in the middle of the map. Forces are coming down to kind of ruin the push here, kind of end this push, but more storms come out. He's just got a couple more storms to keep this push going. A few more Archons are going to be made, some Hydras here as well. Oh my gosh, this is crazy, Shun. Is he actually going to be able to pull this off?
I mean, someone used a reanimation spell on the fossil of Stork, and this skeletal dinosaur is still biting back in the scene and taking the fight to Soma, no less, and getting some critical tech buildings in the main base as well. Evo chambers, defiler mounds. This is crazy what we're witnessing right now. He's currently about 40 supply or so ahead of Soma. Has got that center base to keep some steam going, that he can just keep ramming it down like this. Soma's still in disarray, and this is exactly how you want to play Protoss versus Zerg. You want to force a little bit of a scramble and force the Zerg to trickle into you little by little to make it more cost efficient to trade with them, and Stork's done a great job of that. And just as Soma's starting to stabilize a little bit, there's another massive force that's ready to launch another assault. Can he get that hatchery? If he somehow snipes that hatchery, it's going to be huge. He doesn't have enough DPS to do so. The Lurkers making short work of that. and he will need to use a lot more than just Zealots to break that force. There's a lot of Lurkers there now. Stork not out of the woods yet, but is fighting back strong.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you let that shuttle just fly past. Huge kills. Huge kills in the top right. Oh my gosh. Just about every single drone goes down over there. And this flimsy position that he was barely holding on to, Soma was just barely hanging in there, has just been ripped to pieces. So many drones have died, and he can't even kill that shuttle in the air right now. He's going to try and shove it down. Can he actually break the center?
I think he might be able to put a little pressure onto this center. There's not that much standing army remaining for Stork, and he is getting a Lurker and a Dark Swarm over to that position. He has got a Storm, though, to try and shut that down. Not quite enough DPS to finish it, though. 110 damage over 2.5 seconds, so unless you've got a Dragoon also helping you out by shooting that Lurker, it does take 2 Storms to finish it off. Has got the 9 o'clock position as well on the way, so Stork will start to stabilize his economy once he gets that base mining as well. Soma has a few moments here to restabilize and build back the hatchery that he lost in the bottom right natural, as well as some of that tech. He already replaced the Defiler Mound in that top right quadrant. Can Storm somehow turn this into a win? He will still have to deal with the rage of Soma, not liking how this game has gone and wanting to try and prove himself and not let this become an embarrassing loss for him. So far, though, Stork's done a great job of fighting back strong, but I fear that Soma's going to tactically run away with the game from this point onwards.
I guess he's replaced some of the drones in top right. He really was looking light on overall workers. In fact, he's hardly got anything over here. Just getting to mining over at that natural once again, but he's starting to shut down this mining here from Stork. Oh, this drop is going to come through, though. The drop could be absolutely brutal. Oh, he just killed all the drones at the center right. I think that Stork might just have this. It's so close, just 12 supply apart from each other here, but Stork is killing so many drones, man. It's so hard to stabilize and keep these attacks going while all this is happening on the map.
He needs to be careful with his storm usage, though. He's storming Hydras a little bit too much. Luckily, he's got a Dark Templar underneath the Dark Swarm to finish off some of those Lurkers, so he doesn't have to rely too much on Storm, but he's losing so many probes trying to mine from that top patch in the center. I feel like he should just rotate those probes to the safety. Oh, he's going to get a Storm drop. He misses it with the Scourge. More drones falling for Soma. He's finally going to kill that shuttle at long last, but not before it picked up so much eco damage on Soma's side of the field. 222 upgrades for Stork, 3-2 for Soma. Really bizarre situation we find ourselves in. Soma shutting down half of the operations of mining in the center base. Stork does have that center left going for him, so he's still in this game. Soma, though, could be churning out some drones to reestablish his own economy. Unless the trades go really well for Stork, I feel like Soma will claw his way back into the game.
He's just barely hanging in there, guys. He is so close with the number of drones that have died. Like, once you lose this many drones as Zerg, you lose so much momentum in the game, but he's just continuing to crank out just a few more drones little by little. The surrounds on High Templar are fantastic, just baiting out some of those storms and keeping Stork back is keeping him in this game right now, keeping him alive here as he continues this push. More Lurkers pushing forward. Lurkers under Dark Swarm. A lot of these High Templar do not have Storm energy anymore. That's a great Storm right there. 2 Lurkers are being hit by that. Plus this Lurker not under the Dark Swarm is really going to have a hard time. Zealots pushing forward here. No energy for a Plague. He's going to quickly try to get that Plague out here. Does manage to throw it down on some of these Zealots. A lot more Lurkers pop out. So many Lurkers here stacked up. Can he actually spread those? No Storm to actually take advantage of it. So he is going to be pushed back. The middle, I believe, has been taken over. Stork trying to take top left, though. He's setting up a Nexus.
That's exactly what he needs to do, Stain. Just abandon this center. It's costing him so much negative trades in terms of value. Shuttle, though, coming in for round 2 of harassment. Not many drones drones to kill at the 3 o'clock, so we probably want to rotate around. There's actually a transfer of drones coming to 3 o'clock now. If only he'd been there in time. Bit unlucky there for Stork not to find that. Soma able to evacuate. Oh, the Dark Templar slips into the natural. Still going to get a lot of damage done to Soma regardless. This is wild what we're seeing here. If he can somehow get this base online in the top left without distraction, I mean, Stork can definitely win this game, say. He's causing just enough distraction and disruption to the economy. Oh, he's got the DT hiding in the top left. He's going to top right. He's going to kill more and more drones. This is crazy.
Oh my gosh, he's getting so much damage right now, and finally not paying attention. Soma is not going to notice that. Okay, he finally does notice it just at the tail end here with 6 kills on that DT. Looks like he will be taking that out and securing the base over there in top right once again. Needs to start catching some of these shuttles as they come in. He's just been letting this damage happen over and over again, and now it's going to keep coming in again. Another shuttle hitting this base in top right.
Luckily, Soma's just got his army chilling, waiting for this eventuality. He's going to hide the High Templar underneath the overlord so he can quickly storm the drones. This is crazy. He's killing so many drones right now. What are we even watching? What is even happening? What universe? What parallel reality do we slip into, saying? Because this is crazy. Stork is starting to run rings around Soma, of all people. I mean, I don't even know what's happening. He's getting plagues on some of the Protoss armies, so this is great from Soma. But look at the supply differential starting to favor Stork in a big way. He's looking to run it down on this rally point of Soma now, trying to stretch him too thin, as some of the defenders were allocated to dealing with that drop in the top right. Now there's not enough on the front lines to halt the Protoss advance.
Wow, these lurkers are doing so much work. I mean, despite everything, despite having a huge army, the Plague plus Lurker absolutely destroys that army. All the Zealots are suddenly gone, and he's actually going to halt the advance. Somehow hanging in there. Stork, I mean, if Soma wins this game, I think it says even more about what he's capable of than the dominant performances so far. He has just been right up against the wall the entire second half of this game, man. Ever since the first couple of drops got in, he's been really hurting and just hanging in there non-stop, just battling with this Protoss player. He's going to come forward, try to get some connections with this, but no, GG, he taps out. Stork wins this game and shuts down Soma here on Metropolis. All right, next up is Speed, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. He'll be going up against Stork here. I would have loved to see Soma versus Speed here on this map. Such an interesting map when it comes to ZVT, but we're gonna actually have a proxy gateway from Stork. Gonna try and get in Speed's face early.
I got a big boyish grin on my face right now. Like, I don't know what the writers of KCM were thinking, but they're really subverting expectations or something, and we've slipped into the alternate timeline, saying where somehow Stork is slapping down Soma's double all kill attempts and now doing a proxy gateway against the likes of Speed. And this fast probe scout should set alarm bells off in Speed's mind, because there's no way of gas stealing on this map with a double geyser, so seeing the probe this early should be tipping him off that there's something funky going on. He is going to send out that fast SCV scout. There's a mana pylon as well. Now he's going to see that with the SCVs, and he can actually pull SCVs to fight against that, but it might be too late actually. I think it's just barely too late to pull SCVs to kill that gateway now, so he might just suck it up and defend from the main.
Doing a pretty good job of keeping these SCVs alive. Has taken quite a bit of damage from this early probe, and the harassment has been good from Stork so far. Another mana pylon here, blocking some more probes, or from more SCVs from mining properly. Putting a lot of damage on this pylon. Who was that? Was that Shuttle who lost his pylon? I think there was a pretty famous game where SCV killed the pylon of Shuttle. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. Stork coming in now with the first Zealot.
Well, he had the probe to go back to try and stop that from occurring. Now trying to see if he can do a lot of damage in this main base with the Zealot. Marine out of position, but can't quite find a kill on that. Going to be trying to kill these SCVs that are hacking away at that pylon with their fusion cutters. Does kill one of those SCVs thus far. Stork hasn't done the damage he needs to just yet, but did kind of disrupt the mining timing and what have you of Speed, who's going to be making a second barracks to compensate this strange position that he's found himself in. Second barracks definitely a great way of playing against something like a proxy gateway, so can't fault Speed at all for that. Good turnaround and run to try and break through the linebackers of the SCVs to get on top of those Marines. Unfortunately, the weakened Zealot got into the faces of those Marines and were taken down with direct fire from that Gauss rifle, so now the SCVs can block the ramp and make this way harder for Stork to continue the pressure. In fact, Speed might not even need that second barracks. Yeah, he's going to cancel the second barracks. He realizes that he's already done what he needs to do, and Stork in a lot of trouble now.
Yeah, no need for that second barracks. Can just throw down his command center directly. There's no production back at home for Stork when it comes to army. Only making probes here, so definitely going to have a hard time continuing any sort of pressure. Speed has an amazing spot here, and Stork maybe falling by the wayside after beating Soma. Getting taken down just like this by Speed is kind of hilarious, actually. It is a little bit funny the way that this turned out.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what to expect in KCM, and this is certainly what we didn't expect to happen, but it's going to be entertaining no matter what, at the very least. And yeah, there is a way that Stork can still turn this around into a win. It's just that he's now effectively against a bunker expand while trying to play catch up himself. I mean, Speed could also try and block this Nexus from going down for a little bit of time, because I don't think there'll be a unit out soon enough to stop that. He's predominantly just got... Oh, he does kill the SCV actually, so that's not bad for Stork. That he will get this Nexus down at a reasonably crisp timing, but still behind the timings of Speed, so still behind the curve in this game overall.
Let's see if you can sneak a quick third base against Speed here as well. That worked out pretty well versus Soma, but I think Speed will be on top of it, getting some vultures out early, and one of the stronger players at just finding ways in against a Protoss player, looking for those little gaps in the defense, just very much like Sharp in that way. Always active with his vultures. Very hard for a player like Stork to block everything.
I think Speed's crazy, by the way. Like, he made this engineering base so early, and he's making turrets already. It's like, I know you need the turrets, but you've got a while, buddy. Like, his robo's not even finished yet. There's no possibility of Dark Templars being on the way with that kind of early probe scout and gateway proxy. I'm kind of blown away by how fast Speed is trying to set up a turret ring. Like, yes, this is good play from him, but he could have waited a good 20-30 seconds before doing this with how slow the tech transition will be from Stork.
I think the probe on the ramp actually kind of faked him out a little bit, right? He just put a probe on the ramp and just blocked. And so Speed's thinking, well, this might be one base. And he may be going for like directly into Dark Templar here.
Yeah, but so, even if it is one base follow-up, like, his timings are so slow that those turrets are at least 20 seconds too quick, if you know what I'm saying. Like, his tech timings are really delayed anyway. Like, he's going to be a minute slower than those turrets need to be. But even if he was one base, he'd be like 20-30 seconds still behind schedule. So yeah, I think that's a bit of a misread from Speed, and he's not used to playing in these funky situations, and is just playing super safe and avoiding being off in his timings, but that's definitely way too quick.
Well, he wasn't able to see if there was a cybernetics core made before the gateway, the proxy gateway went down. Maybe he's thinking that there could be something coming. Either way, regardless, he knows that he's in a good spot as long as he doesn't take damage. And so he's invested in this turret ring early He's very, very safe, but he can't really punish this third, which is what I was talking about earlier. This very quick third. Can he actually get away with it? Yeah, I think that he might be able to with Stork being this safe. Or with
with Speed being the safe.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think he will get away with it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he should be making, you know, safety turrets and what have you, but I think he just wasn't dialed in to the possible timings. Like, these turrets were like a minute and a half ahead of schedule, and that was with the Nexus. Without the Nexus, they would have been, you know, 20-30 seconds ahead of schedule. So either way, really unoptimized follow-up from Speed is all I'm saying. Like, he could have min-maxed this a lot better and had more SCVs and sharper factory timings and what have you. So there is a room for Stork to catch up is all I'm trying to identify in this game now, especially with getting away with this fast third. There is a possibility that Protoss can turn this around. I still think Speed is favored to win, but now there's room. Oh no, the Vultures are going to get in. Are you kidding me?
He's going to slip by here. This is exactly what I was talking about. Very active player when it comes to Vulture. Managed to get about 4 probes over here in the natural and sees the probe transfer as well. So he's aware of the third base, that it's there, and he's going to follow up with 5 factories. Might be able to come out here and put some pressure on this. Which base is better to take, do you think, here on this map? Is it better to take that high ground base on the right hand side or the low ground on the left?
I mean, technically the high ground, but it's really far away from your rally point, so it depends on what's happening in the game and what your opponent is doing. Unfortunately for Speed, he's even got an SCV stuck in that bottom right corner. It's a bit unfortunate for him. And the turret ring will stop these observers being able to slip in as well. I would prefer Speed to take this high ground, but with this current positioning, that's not easy. That's opening yourself up to being bulldogged or something. So it's easier said than done. This third gas, a little bit of a far away to take on that far right-hand side. Looks like Stork going to be trying to ram it down in the natural with some Scarab connections anyway, and trying to rip through the defensive line of Speed. He smelt a little bit of weakness. He's going to pounce on these tanks that are out on the periphery. Stork ripping through the siege tanks. Careful with the mines, though. There could be huge connections. Luckily targets some of those down. Can he go on top of these siege tanks? This is looking absolutely crazy. One good Scarab connection, and it might all be over for Speed, but he has shut down the Dragoons and the Reaver, fortunately avoiding total disaster there. That looks so good for a little bit of time from Stork, but he overstayed his welcome and didn't kill off enough tanks to make that worth it.
So many of those Dragoons were super low as he was trying to push forward there. It looked strong for a moment, and then suddenly they all exploded when those tanks sieged up. I was a little bit afraid as well that 3 tanks stacked on top of each other like that, we're going to end up getting absolutely wiped out. But Speed now has some confidence here to start moving forward. He can... I look at this, I think you can push towards the right and actually take the base in behind this push, but he's going to push through the middle now rather than going to the right-hand path.
Well,
oh, this is looking a little bit scary for Speed. He's going to lose some of these tanks now. Great mine connection there. Excellent mine drag from Stork, but he's running out of units, and Speed is just running it straight down.
No, there's not enough meat on the bone for Stork, unfortunately. Just pure skeletal fossils to work with, and that reanimation spell might be losing its grip and keeping him animated here. I don't know, man. I think this is over for Stork. Now he's contained in such a spectacular fashion. Mines being laid down in the wake of those Dragoons, just chilling out. Big, massive mine connections onto that Protoss infantry as well. Stork in a lot of trouble, losing probes to boot. He can't establish a strong enough infantry force to break out of this contain. I actually like the idea from Speed to run it down the center, because it cut off the Dragoons that were over to the right-hand side and forced a trade from the Protoss and put him into a deficit of not having enough to break out of the contain. So ignoring that third base seems to be paying off for Speed in a big way, and yeah, I don't think there's much hope for Stork at getting out of this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to break through here. The death grip has been applied. Speed not gonna let this one go, man. He does send one tank over to the third base, and it gets taken care of. Now the shuttle's going across the map to potentially do some counter damage. Oh boy, a lot of SCVs were just transferred, and this Reaver could do huge damage. Oh my gosh, Speed gonna lose so much here. Just didn't have anything to help defend. 3 hits from the Reaver and a ton of SCVs go down. Can he at the same time break out from this containment? If he does manage to break the contain, this is still a very playable game. Oh my gosh, he's actually just barely gonna get through here. It seems like he can pull a mine.
Third tank shows up, but it's not in a good position. Doesn't get the mine drag. Fortunately enough for Speed. If only he got that mine drag, would have turned this around in a heartbeat. But he has technically stabilized for just a moment here. Speed has to evacuate that third base, and there's a tiny lifeline now for Stork to maybe turn this around. He's going to identify exactly where all those mines are and now go for it, but he doesn't clear out the mines with the first Zealot. He's going to try and go in now for round 2. He hasn't got the Zealot speed, so he's hoping. He just now got the Zealot speed, actually, so he's going to try and target fire down these tanks to take out the sting from this siege contain. Stork is actually breaking through right now. What is even happening in this week of KCM saying? I don't even know. This is absolute pandemonium. I mean, I thought that Stork was pretty much done for. He still might be. The third base finally now being mined from by Speed. Stork has bought a little bit of time, though. If he can keep ramming it down and killing off these tanks, there's a bit of a mine drag to boot. If he can just keep clearing out all of these tanks, maybe, just maybe there's a way of clawing his way back in this game.
I mean, he didn't lose his natural nexus. He didn't lose his third either. He's lost quite a few probes, but he's managed to get a lot of economic damage onto Speed as well. Speed, his tank count has been fully reset. He has his third base up now, but he's going to be running out of gas in that main. Still has quite a good bank of gas right now, but these 3,000 gas geysers are going to be running out. You can see he hasn't switched over to the second one, so that might become a problem here soon.
Yeah, he's just now going to start. Although with the proxy gateway, he might actually have enough mining on that for a little bit of time, and at least for another minute here. But he will have to very quickly switch over to the other gas. He has taken a fourth base though as well, and he hasn't yet obviously got the gas at the third. So still a lot of gas available to Stork, as long as he doesn't forget to actually do that. In a bit of a sticky situation in terms of army value. Like, it's still pretty even on supply, which is never where you want to be as Protoss. You kind of have to play a bit like Zerg and try and have a bit more juice in the tank to overrun these Terran positions and kind of like trade a little bit inefficiently just to get on top of the tanks. But I mean, there is a way that Stork can make this work, but the fourth base is completely undefended besides that one cannon. Speed gonna go over here with some upgraded vultures and start to target fire down all of these probes. That's taking a massive chunk out of the economy of Stork.
Yeah, every probe here goes down. This was a huge move from Speed to get in there right before those cannons finish up and get that damage done. Now he's gonna get this shuttle. Oh, it barely survives. Wow. Shuttle actually manages to live there, but mine connection and some damage there from the Goliath means that that's not really gonna be too useful anymore. I doubt he'll be able to get in and deal the same type of damage, the same caliber of damage that he got earlier with that Reaver.
Yeah, this is rough for Stork. Like, he has a path to victory, but every time he gets on track, he just gets shoved off the rails by Speed. It's gonna take him a little bit of time to, you know, get that economy back online again. He's not making probes from every nexus as well, so it's gonna take him a long time to get that economy back. He's just gonna try and see if he can find a path of attack right now. A lot of mines in front of these tanks that he could drag into that light. At the very least, he wants to shut down this fourth base attempt from Speed over here on the left. But is he just going to go for it? He might just try and go for it right now. These tanks are very clumped up. If he can get drags onto these tanks, it would pay off. Some Scarab connections as well, giving a little bit of splash, but not enough. He's going to start drying up very quickly. I don't think Stork's going to punch through this army, and he might be tapping out and calling GG after this fight. There it is. Speed does win out eventually, but a bit of an exciting roller coaster of unpredictability from Stork nonetheless.
Wow, a true emotional roller coaster here in KCM this week. Lots of ups and downs for different players. Glad to see Stork performing and putting out some good games here. I didn't expect much at all, to be honest, when he came in today. Going up against Soma. That was the last thing I expected, was for Stork to be able to take a win there, but he's managed to set his team up for a potential win. Bisu could end up clutching things out. And, you know, all it takes is, you know, Queen beats Speed, and then Bisu just has to take on 2 Protoss players. That's his specialty. Or 2 Zerg players, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's only going to be 2 players remaining for Bisu, no matter what happens here, Sam. And, you know, that will be a nice little win there for Protoss if he can close that out. Didn't look like that would be an eventuality, but especially with Snow going down in the fashion that he did, but Stork kind of coming in clutch there and making things interesting no matter what. And yeah, I mean, we now get to see Speed versus Queen, not a matchup we get to see very often. Curious to see where these two line up. Haven't been super impressed by Queen's performance lately. Not necessarily one of my most favorite of Zerg players, but back in the day I used to admire him quite a bit. When he was under the ID 0, I used to really like his plays. He was one of the guys that would go like 12 pool fast mutas against Flash and hold his own on Heartbreak Ridge and show us different ways of approaching the game. Haven't really seen a lot of great stuff out of him besides that period of brief dominance about a year and a half where he was pretty much beating every Protoss player under the sun, and kind of enjoyed a little bit of a reign of terror. Besides that, I haven't seen too much great things from him, but sometimes he surprises.
Yeah, last season he seemed like he was really putting the effort again and trying to get to the high level that he used to occupy. This season, again, did seem to be putting in a lot of effort, but there's just so many good players right now. There's so many strong contenders, and look no further than the round of 8 to see really the best of the best when it comes to Starcraft Broodwar in 2025. There are so many strong, amazing players there, and he's just a little bit overshadowed by some of these other great Zergs.
Yeah. I mean, that was a quick lair from him. I think 249, so his optimization's definitely on point there, but also a very quick factory from Speed. I think that was a 11 gas, because I saw that factory come down a lot earlier than 229. So unless he's just got the best mineral optimization in the world, I think that was an 11 gas from him. So Speed's gonna be wanting to apply a lot of pressure to Queen, and if Queen can't identify this, it'd be hard to do so with the cross map. Might not have that creep Conley and sunken in time. You need to start that creep. Oh, it's 2-port Wraith as well to boot. This is going to be insane, the amount of pressure that he's going to apply to Queen. Queen is going to make that creep Conley at the right timing here at 3 minutes 30. That's exactly when you want to make it against this fast, crisp factory timing. He'll be in time now, especially with the cross map. But the 2-ray follow-up, if you're not on top of things and you got a Hydrodon on the way and you're expecting this, I mean, the Terran player can really run away with a game of good micro.
Oh my gosh, he's almost going to kill this drone as well. Drone getting a little bit of healing going and keeping some distance here. Will manage to survive, but the SCV gets into the main. He sees the Spire. He knows exactly what he's up against. This is kind of a perfect situation for Speed going into this 2-port Wraith play. I'm not sure if there's going to be Burrow here, but if there's not, Queen could end up taking a lot of damage.
Well, I mean, that's the 2 ways you play this. You either get the Hydrodan or you get the Burrow. And if Queen does neither, then he's in trouble. He just got a macro hatchery for the time being. Maybe he thinks this is not going to be a 2-port Wraith follow-up at all and gets blindsided. 1 Vulture's going to get into the main base as well. Oh, geez, not like this. Look how far away that Spire is. There is no Hydroden as well, so this is bad news bears for Queen. He could take so much damage to his Vulture, especially if he can't shut it out from getting to the north side of his base. He can start to box this in gradually. That's a pretty good catch, but he's lost a lot of mining time already. Can he get this Vulture? I think he will, but not before losing a lot of mining time and a couple of drones. So I don't know, man. I still think like that's a win for Speed. especially with these Wraiths coming in now. Could just supply block Queen.
Absolutely. I mean, that was really painful, losing a lot of mining time there, despite not losing drones and having that vulture taken out. I mean, this is still super painful. 3-4 drones go down. I mean, Scourge are going to be popping out here soon, but I think that Speed's just going to run away with this game. He is so good with Wraith control. It's kind of crazy how well he can control these and keep them alive.
Oh. I mean, this is whoa. He does lose one of those Wraiths, but the ambitions of this guy, crazy. He does lose one of those Wraiths, so needs to be careful not to get too hyper aggressive and throw the game. But honestly, he's killed so much of the economy of Queen at this point. The lost mining in the main from the vulture, and now that many drones in the natural makes it hard for Queen to stabilize the position. And we got a transition from Speed back at home as well. I don't think he even got the control tower yet. Yeah, he's only just making that now, so he's, you know, kind of min-maxing towards a mid-game transitional point here. He's not even going to be pulling the trigger on relying on these Wraiths to do all of the heavy lifting. He's happily going to turn this into a more traditional game, but will be applying pressure with those Wraiths in the process.
There's an option here for Queen. There's a Overlord down at the bottom of the map. It's kind of over at that bottom right. And so if he were to bring that Overlord over to the natural and go for an all-in Mutalist play, there's a potential, even without Speed Overlords, of breaking the natural and maybe bringing this game back. But it's still pretty rough. It's still pretty scary. And going all the way across the map, if you lose that Overlord, you could just straight up die, because all the Wraiths will cloak and just chase you down to the ends of the earth.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and knowing how good Speed is with his Wraith control, it's very likely that Overlord would be sniped. You can kind of just dive onto it and ignore the mutas and kill that, and then chase down the mutas. Unless you got the best muta splitting in the world, you're probably coming out of that trade worse off than the Terran. Queen gonna have to stabilize and go into a more normal mid game himself, but will not be able to min-max his build order with how much he's had to catch up making drones, and no third base on the way for him either. So if he somehow gets caught in the open, oh no, there's nothing back at home to defend against these Wraiths. They're running by right now. A bit of a base trade scenario will start to come into effect. Will Queen turn around to defend after spotting this, or will he try and just go into the main base of Speed and do damage of his own? Either way, he's going to have to figure out how to stabilize against the Wraith pressure from him. It looks like he is going to want to try and look for counter damage, but turrets are already there.
Yeah, turrets are done, and these Wraiths are cloaked, so they're just going to sit there and kill everything. There's one Overlord, like we talked about before. The Overlord is right there, and now can be brought to bear to help these mutas to actually fight the Wraiths. He's going to bring all the Wraiths together. Are there enough Wraiths to just wipe this out? With proper micro, Wraiths can do a lot of damage. Let's see if he can make it happen. Scourge makes a connection there. That was a big connect. Getting a Scourge onto one of those Wraiths is huge, but he is going to be driven back. Speed stabilizes.
Oh, two more Overlords show up though, saying it's not over yet. He comes in with the mutas yet again. Two Overlords, there's a lot more HP to utilize as a resource. Some of those Wraiths are paper thin in their HP as well. This is crazy. There's actually more mutas than Wraiths right now, so Queen coming out ahead on the air battle. Now going to maybe apply some pressure to this natural expansion and force another trade out of Speed, while those Wraiths are still softened up as well. Overlord's not in range to provide vision, however, so he's taking a lot of Gemini missiles for free. Finally gets that Overlord back in range. 5 more Mutalists coming out from Queen to show up to the party as quickly as possible to maintain this pressure. +1 upgrades on the attack for those glaives as well. Speed with a few more Wraiths and turrets being scrambled back at home. Can he hold on against Queen? 9 mutas now in his main base.
I mean, he's gotta get the kill right now. He's not made any drones behind this. Queen hasn't. And so he's going completely all in with this play. He's on top of the production right now, and Lings are coming forward, so maybe there's a chance to just send Lings in and kill these turrets here at the natural.
Yeah.
He's gonna go after the Overlord. 2 Overlords fall. Complete supply block here for Queen. He can't make anything. And so he's gonna have a hard time continuing this all in without any more production coming online. Marine at the natural is going to be killed. Turrets are starting to go down here. Wraiths will have to be pulled to deal with the Lings. That means the Mutas can go into the main base, look for some more damage, starting to put a fire on this starport. Starport on fire right now. Just not very much health left on that. Tries to dive on top of the Wraiths as they move to the natural to deal with these Lings. It's so close, but it's looking like Speed is going to hold.
Yeah, 7 Wraiths versus 11 Mutalisk. I'm not so sure. I think there is a way that Queen can actually break this, but it needs to have really good micro. Not only 3 Wraiths, I feel like Queen could break through this, actually, saying he just needs to keep the Overlords in range, apply pressure, and the Lings will clear up the natural in just a few moments here. There's not enough Wraiths to micro anymore to kill these Overlords quick enough. He's going to kill both of these starports as long as he can keep these Overlords out of range of those Gemini missiles and pounce on the Wraiths when they do come into range. I feel like he has successfully done enough damage now to Speed. With some additional reinforcements, Queen should be able to close out this game.
Oh my goodness, he is actually going to get in here. How many more Mutas? Still 11 Mutas left. A few of them are going down to the great micro here of Speed, but yeah, you're right. There's just not enough Wraiths left over, and no bunker at the natural, nothing to stop these Lings from running over this natural, and now there's no turrets left either. 1 turret. He's gonna get the surround with the repair here, it looks like. Oh, he's trying to block him from repairing. Look at that. 1 Muta on top of the turret, trying to glitch that turret out, actually. 4 more Mutas arrive, and I think he's actually gonna break him here. He's gonna get this turret.
Oh,
Turret's gonna fall.
We gets it. The natural expansion completely. Speed taps out. GG. Bit of a surprising win there from Queen, but really well done to isolate his win condition and apply non-stop pressure to Speed. He's usually so good in the air with that Wraith micro, but Queen saves the day for the Zerg squad and puts another nail in that coffin, which means that there's no more Terran players remaining. It's going to be down to Bisu to try and double down his Protoss versus Zerg prowess and his specialization to put Protoss into a bit of a moral victory going forward into the end of this KCM.
All right, we're going to get Screaming Seas the VP with Bisu over in the top right-hand corner, Queen in the bottom left. Early probe being sent out here by Bisu. Probe after Pylon. Wants to get over here and see what Queen is up to. Greed is very common on this map. Greed is good on Screaming Sea.
Yeah, the rush distances, just a little bit longer, so you can get away with some shenanigans here. I mean, who knows? Bisu might want to identify the quick hatchery and throw down a nexus of his own super quickly. Definitely possible. And he's forcing this drone to a suboptimal position of making the hatchery at this third. And if he gets into the main base and sees that there's no pool on the way, he's just going to make a nexus of his own, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is super common on Screaming Sea. Going for a nexus first after getting that scout, and Bisu's gonna have a great spot here. Will Queen no 3 hatch before gas, not any sort of return greed here from him. He's gonna play it safe, putting with the 12 hatch, getting into a pool for himself, and that's not really going to favor him here. He's definitely going to be a little bit behind the curve with Bisu getting away with this much. He's actually going to make a gateway as well. Oh man, he is really getting greedy.
Yeah, this is about as greedy as you can get, and I think it's warranted, honestly. When you know for sure that there's no early pool time, he's even going to block the hatchery from Queen. Really nice early opener from Bisu. About as greedy as you can get, to be honest, because he's making this pylon as well as slightly delaying the forge by a couple of seconds. So about as maximal greed as you can go for while still technically being safe. And he knows there's a slightly longer rush distances, so harder for the Lings to punish. He almost gets the chase micro down with the particle beam onto that drone. Just 5 HP on that. Does regenerate to becoming a 2-hit kill, but could still try and get in there if he wanted to.
Oh, he's going for it. Okay. Good reaction there from Queen. Has the links out now, and so the Spylon will be killed and finally take his third. Look at how far delayed this is, though. 460 minerals in the bank. He's at 17 supply before he can grab his third. Generally, guys, you want to be grabbing that 13 supply. So this has really been slowed down by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you're happy to throw it down a little bit delayed, but this delayed is, yeah, doesn't feel good, that's for sure. Sometimes you have to make it at, like, say 14 if you're, like, you know, a little bit blocked and your Zerglings are chewing for a pylon or something. I mean, it is what it is, but this is about as delayed as it can get, unfortunately, for Queen. Bisu enjoying a very comfortable position in this early game phase, and he's very teched out as well. Like, he's made the bare minimum in terms of defense timings back at home. He didn't go like completely crazy with like Gateway Core Forge, but this is about as greedy as you can be while still being safe.
Yeah, he's walking that line right now. He's doing a good job. He's even keeping this probe alive. Just continuing to get that scouting information. Sees some more links coming here. He knows that probably the Zealot's not going to do so hot, so probably turn that around, send that back to the wall, make sure that he doesn't take any damage. As he gets into this Corsair, Corsair's going to be super fast this game. And he's just going to take control of those skies, really put the pressure onto Queen, who, you know, one thing is if you end up going for such a late hatchery like this, you're going to actually have that gas quite a bit faster. So he does have a pretty quick Spire timing for himself right now. So maybe he can do something with that Spire.
No, I'm not too familiar with the Protoss wall-ins on this map, San. Like, on the top of that gateway, Zerglings can still fit through there, right? But I'm not sure if can Zealots fit through that gap as well, or just Zerglings?
I believe Zealots can get in there as well.
Okay.
So there's a one tile gap above the gateway, one tile below the forge there, and so you have to kind of be a little bit careful holding that off. Second Stargate's just been spotted. Oh my gosh, I can't believe players are still going for this. And I mean, I guess on this map it makes sense, right? Double Stargate, go into Robo, I guess, but it's just been so common, and it's been shut down so heavily. I guess Screaming Sea is a bit of an exception.
Yeah, I can give the exception for Screaming Sea with these island bases, but at least do like a Reaver Sair play if you're going to go for double Stargate. Let's see the Reavers as well, Bisu. I want to see that Robo. I'm not sure if he's actually going for that, though. I have to wait and see. If he does, I'll be so happy. If he goes for Sair Reaver here, I'm going to be a happy camper saying that's for sure. Actually, I see is that a building in the natural? Is that a Robo? That could be.
Could be. I actually lost to Reaver Sair on this map today. It was brutal. Guy went into Reaver Sair, dropped on the islands, and then started making carriers. It was actually a very close game with the map completely split, or the islands completely split in half, but in the end, it was pretty hard to deal with. This is a very strong map for Reaver Sair, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the issues with Reaver Sair is getting a third base online safely, and obviously having an island base to choose from when you've already got the speed shuttles. It's so much easier to get that third base up undeterred from the Zerg. The only real way they can shut that down is by utilizing air units, and obviously you've got the double Stargate Sairs to deal with those air units, so definitely a great map for this strategy. Bit micro-intensive in terms of mechanics, though. Reaver Sair probably, besides Gateway Man with Storms and Shuttles, one of the hardest mechanically demanding ways of playing Protoss. So Bisu will have to be on top of things. He's doing a lot of damage to Queen, though. Supply blocking him by killing so many Overlords. I don't think there's much counterplay from Queen as well. He's just stuck making Overlords right now and losing them.
Yeah, this gets out of control really quick. Because more Corsairs are going to keep coming. And, yeah, one Spore is going to come up. You know how much this Spore is worth? Absolutely nothing. It's just going to provide some vision. A lot of people talk about how powerful the Spore is, and it is a very good unit if you're actually going to fight. But if you're just going to kill Overlords and then run away, certainly isn't a
Yeah.
great unit to have, a great building. Pretty
It's,
good attempt there to surround the zealots of Bisu, but Bisu just has so much momentum now with all these kills.
Right.
Like, he's just gonna keep killing.
Oh gosh, he's getting more and more. But the spores are great if you're doing. Oh no way, no way is he killing this many overlords. Oh my gosh, and they do move in herds, saying, but they also die in herds as well. Apparently, he's got 5 supply. This is crazy what we're witnessing right now. And Queen's only got himself to blame. He knows this is a map that is very strong for Reaver Ser, and he should, you know, have his build order adjusted to compensate for that. And you know, he himself being a little bit greedy, now being severely punished, and there is nothing to stop this Reaver ripping through drones now.
Yeah, this Reaver's gonna be pretty much lights out. Can he actually get a hit? Oh, it's so close. Not gonna happen. Hydra's making the way to the front. Actually, Hydra's here a little bit scary. I don't know how he got these Hydras out. He's been so badly supply blocked for so long. Only one cannon can attack right now, which is really limiting the power of this defense. Of course, a third cannon gonna finish up, and the Reaver coming back home should be able to hold this. Yeah, that Reaver arrives, and one shot here from the Reaver should just push everything back. Gonna continue to look for more overlords here. Queen struggling to do anything, and that attack was kind of his last hope.
Yeah, it's 10 Corsairs in the sky, so they can rip through these overlords in like 3 volleys, basically. There's +1 flyer carapace on those overlords, but it won't do a lot to protect them from that many Corsairs just ravaging in the sky with the neutron flare. I mean, Bisu doesn't even really need to expand at this point. He just needs to micro what he's got and keep applying pressure to Queen, and he could maybe close this game out. Would be good for him, though, if he could isolate one of these island bases while doing all this. That will give him an insurance policy in this game. For the time being, he's a little bit concerned about Queen trying to run it down on that natural expansion. There's not that many cannons there, so he needs to keep a Reaver back at home at all times. Can he get a good Scarab connection? Does kill a few of those drones now in the main base. Scourge in hot pursuit, though. Can they intercept this shuttle on the exit vector? It looks like he will be able to finally kill this shuttle, but not before a lot of damage has been done by that Reaver. And even going to get in here with the Corsairs as well to clean up most of those Scourge. Now, maybe Bisu knows that there's not enough to stop him from taking more bases himself and starting to move out with some Zealots on the ground to boot.
Yeah, this is where the disruption web comes out, and then I flip my keyboard, flip my table over. That disruption web spell, it's super expensive. You have to get a fleet beacon to make it work, or to get that upgrade.
Yeah.
But it can be extremely painful when you've got Reavers in behind your mineral patches to try and dislodge that against disruption web. It's not going to happen here. Reaver's just going to be dropped right in the front. Target fire onto that Reaver's pretty good, but he manages to pick it up and juggle it back a little bit more. I think the Zealots on the ground could almost win this fight on their own, but the Reavers are just going to completely destroy this army. Even a DT coming in here, and GG is called. Bisu taking him down with the double Stargate play on Screaming Sea. Okay, here we go. Final game of the night. Final game of the regular season of KCM. Season 3, 2025. It's been a blast, Shun. Been having a lot of fun here. As well as all the other duo casts that we've been on together. Really appreciate you, and appreciate everybody out there who's been watching consistently, who's been keeping up with this tournament along with the ASL, because they are very good partners in that regard. Like, these go hand in hand.
Yeah. Absolutely, Sam. Yeah, and thank you so much to all you guys that have been supporting us recently. The Patreon that we recently established at the start of the ASL has kind of been going gangbusters, so thank you so much to everyone that has supported us there. There is a little link in the description for the Seiyan Duo Cast page if you do want to go over there and show us some love. I really do appreciate everything you guys have done for us, and showing us that you appreciate the effort that we've been pouring into this scene, and we do have so much passion to give, and we set aside a lot of time for these Duo casts, so to be compensated for it so that we can continue to do it for many years to come just gives me renewed hope that we can continue embracing our passion, saying, for such a long time.
Absolutely, Shun. Couldn't have said it better myself. We've got a gateway start here from Bisu on Metropolis. And a hatchery first coming out of action. So there could be a little bit of opportunity for some harassment here early. Bisu getting that last scout. Not going to favor him with this play, but he knows now where to send the Zealot, and it is close spot, close position, so he might be able to get in there, get a little bit of damage with this first Zealot. We'll see how Action controls his drones and handles this first Zealot coming in. Not always easy to defend against the Zealot Probe. The Probe-Zealot combo, 2 shots if you're able to get both attacking at the same time.
It kind of simulates a +1 upgrade for that Zealot to help it chew through your defensive line quicker, as well as the Probe providing blocking to deny good surface area to surround that Zealot. So picking the right time to kill that Probe is critical as well. Action, if you allow him to get into a mid to late game transition, he's got such a monstrous macro behind him, but hasn't necessarily been performing at the best of his game in recent times. He's one of these guys that kind of comes in and out of fashion depending on what's going on in the scene, and hasn't had much of a time to shine lately. I want to see more from him. I do have a big love and soft spot in my heart for this guy. Would love to see him come back to prominence. Do have a little bit of a fear that he will be overshadowed by some of these other guys coming back to the scene though. You got Lava, Effort, and Soma all kind of taking the Zerg scene by storm all at once, and I don't know, man, like, it's gonna be tough. Like, you got these new guys coming back into the scene. It's gonna be harder than ever to, you know, allow yourself to be noticed as a Zerg.
This is some pretty good play from Bisu, man. He was being slowed down by the drone and got a couple of hits on that, and then he sent the Probe to the third to make sure that he could deny that for as long as possible. So although he didn't get the kills that he would like to on some of these drones, he's once again delayed the Zerg third base for a very long time.
Right.
It was up to like 16, 17 supply again before Action could get that thrown down, and that actually makes a huge difference. Not having the early larva means that you're just not going to have the drone count that you're looking for early on here.
Now, Bisu has a 5 Zealot timing, but he hasn't made a single cannon, which is interesting. This is like very greedy from Bisu, and he's trying to sneak out a Probe scout behind that to double down on that greed. He's going to be shut down from Action. He wisely has 2 Zerglings blocking that ramp, but he went for 973. Oh my jeez. He's actually going to get in with some Zerglings here. Speed just finished up as well. He's going to get the cancel on that cannon. 973 is behind us as well, so any delay on that natural expansion defenses siphons off precious minerals that Bisu will need to defend against this timing. This complicates the position for Bisu, but has got those Zealots getting into the face of Action. Will he be able to shut down these Zealots with the Speedlings before he figures out that there's Hydras behind us? If he kills all 4 of these Zealots before he even spots the Hydralisk, this could be a nightmare situation for Bisu. He's not going to scout the Hydra build.
He didn't really see too much there. At least he saw that there was no second gas in the natural, but it's not really giving him that much information. So many more Lings are coming right now. Dude, he's gonna get these Lings in, I think. Unless Bisu is completely... he's not ready. He's not ready. He could kill the cannon again.
I don't know, man. Like, even if he doesn't, he could just do like a, you know, a Ling Hydra bust where he has like 5 or 6 Hydras to kill the cannon and the Lings do the rest of the work. So either way, this is pretty good for Action, I feel. I think he's just going to get like 5 or 6 Hydras to run up to that wall, pick off that cannon, and the Lings are going to stream in again and start to lop up things on the ground without any cannon support. Corsair going horizontal across the board, so we will not see the Hydras that are waiting at his door to pull the trigger on this play. Unfortunately, here comes those Hydra hit squad to target down that cannon like I thought, saying, and he's going to get on top of these Zelts with the links supporting the Hydras. Bisu in trouble. Can he stabilize? He needs to pull the probes in just a second here to try and get these cannons online. I don't think it's going to be in time. I think Action's done it.
Yeah, I think he's just going to tap out here. Action puts together a perfect bust after dealing with that Zealot timing. Bisu had some good ideas here in the early game, but absolutely gets shut out by Action at the end of the day. Oh my goodness. Zerg takes another victory here in the last week of KCM.
Wow, San. I mean, it's so unfortunate for Protoss. They came so close to putting some additional points on the board before we finally go through to that semi-final situation. It's going to be that Protoss versus Terran semi-finals no matter what, but it would be nice for a bit of a moral victory for Protoss going forward to get them some renewed vigor. Zerg squad just so dominant, and yeah, Action not really been performing as of late, but really well executed Hydra bust from him there. He went about that exactly how I thought he should, and he did it with style, making Bisu, who's also been performing really good lately, look a little bit silly in that game. He was supposed to be a Protoss versus Zerg specialist nonetheless, so well done him. And now, look at that points on the board. I mean, it just goes to show how dominant Zerg has been in KCM recently. And I really do feel like there's a lot of stagnation in the metagame, especially in the Terran dugout here, where they've not been able to, you know, re-innovate. They've kind of been just sticking to their guns and paying the price for it.
Well, we have seen some switch-ups when it comes to players kind of putting together these new fangled Valkyrie pushes. Something like... I think that Light is actually the innovator of that, potentially, and then a lot of these other Terrans are following with some pretty good success. But it seems like Zergs have kind of figured it out. But Zergs like Soma, I mean, making it look silly in that game versus Light.
You can't do it blind. We've talked about it in our ASL casts as well. You can't. It's okay to try and metagame a little bit. If you rely on that too much, the Zerg players that have their brain switched on are going to quickly realize that what you're doing, and they're going to absolutely run circles around you. I mean, yes, lurkers are the uncommon opening in that meta, but the reality is, if you're going to be going for blind Valkyrie plays, there's no reason for them not to pull out the lurker play anymore, especially when no one's going for 2-Rax anymore, saying. Like, the reason why 2-Rax was so popular is not just to have that pressure play and pushing out at the 5-minute mark of stim, it's to shut down any possibility of opening lurkers. The reason why 2-Rax is so strong is it forces the Zerg player to have to rely on mutas. If they do go for like a quick 2-hatch lurker or something kind of opening, the 2-Rax destroys it.
Yeah, it's it's hard to say where TVZ is going to go in the future. It does seem like there needs to be more innovation from the Terran squad. Zerg's doing so fantastic here in the KCM and absolutely smashing it into that final spot. We're going to be having the ASL live cast coming up on Monday, guys. Make sure to tune into that. It's over at SCTVEN. There's a link in the description. And we'll be back for the semifinals coming up next week, guys. And then it'll be the finals, and then it'll be the ASL finals coming up pretty soon after that. So very busy world here when it comes to Broodwar. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in for this cast once again. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.